Alright folks, it's story time. Our story kicks off with your average overworked office guy, Shin Wolford. The man's basically a corporate zombie, clocking in more hours than an MMORPG speedrunner. No social life, no hobbies, just spreadsheets and instant noodles. One night, after another round of unpaid overtime, he's walking home, lost in thought about his miserable life. And yeah, that's when Truck-kun makes his grand entrance. Before he even realizes what's happening, lights out. Next thing he knows, he's in a completely different world, one full of magic, monsters, and heroic legends. His first memory? Waking up in the aftermath of a demon attack, surrounded by wreckage. Not exactly the warmest welcome to a new life. Luckily, a powerful magician named Merlin finds him and decides to raise him as his grandson. So now, Shin's got a new grandpa, and a seriously overpowered one at that. Growing up under Merlin's care, Shin turns out to be a total prodigy. Maybe it's because of his modern world mindset, or maybe he's just built different. Either way, he masters both magic and swordsmanship like it's second nature. Fast forward to when he's 8. Little dude heads into the forest to hunt dinner. Using wind magic, he casually snipes a few birds, takes down a boar, and returns home like it's no big deal. Merlin's impressed. Apparently, wind magic is the go-to for hunting. So, he tests Shin's skills and asks him to light some firewood. Shin imagines the combustion process in his head and boom, perfect flames. He's secretly just glad he doesn't have to yell out some long, cringe spell chant like in other fantasy worlds. A bit later, Shin gets scolded by Melinda Bowen, his magic gear instructor, for hunting dangerous animals. She's worried for his safety, but Shin assures her that between his gear and his sword training with Michael, he's fine. 2 years later, Merlin takes him on a demon hunting trip. Apparently, demons are just regular animals, or sometimes humans, who lose control of their magic and go berserk. Merlin even mentions he once defeated a human-turned-demon who nearly destroyed their kingdom. That's how he earned his National Hero title. He teaches Shin a new spell called Search Magic, a technique that lets you sense other magical beings. It's supposed to take ages to learn, but Shin masters it instantly. Using the spell, he detects a demonic presence nearby, and before Merlin can say anything, Shin charges in, sword blazing, and slays the demon in seconds. Merlin's left speechless. The man didn't even have time to blink. Shin asks his grandpa if he did a good job, and Merlin jokes that he might have just broken the world record for the fastest demon hunt in history. The next day, Shin gets thrown into some absolutely brutal combat training with Michael. Merlin takes him out to the mountains and drops a truth bomb. Shin isn't actually his real grandson, just a baby he found during that demon attack years ago. Shin's already made peace with it though. For him, Merlin, Melinda, and Michael are his real family. That emotional moment makes the old wizard tear up like a proud grandpa. Time skips to Shin's 15th birthday. They throw a huge celebration, and a few VIP guests show up, including a guy named Disium and his guards, Christina and Siegfried. During the party, someone asks Shin what he plans to do now that he's an adult. His answer? He wants to explore the town, because he's never actually left the forest. The problem? The guy doesn't even know how money works. Turns out Merlin forgot to teach him basic economics. To show off his skills, Shin uses a spell called Gate, basically teleportation powered by wormhole physics. They move to a test site where Shin demonstrates his new fire spell. He imagines a chemical combustion, adds extra oxygen, compresses hydrogen, and fires it all at a mountain. The explosion looks like a mini nuke. Everyone's terrified, including Merlin. Disium, who by the way is secretly the king, points out the obvious. Shin's too powerful to just roam around unsupervised. If word gets out, every nation will want him. So, the solution? Enroll him in a magic academy. Merlin's against it at first, but once Shin learns his uncle is actually royalty, everything starts making sense. Even Michael turns out to be the former commander of the Royal Knights. Shin is absolutely floored by how high profile his social circle suddenly is. I mean, we're talking about legends here. Disium then starts telling him how he first met Merlin, back when he was just a student and a demonoid human was tearing their entire nation apart. Just as the monster was about to finish him off, Merlin and Melinda swooped in like a two-person raid party. With Merlin's magic and Melinda's gear skills, they took down the demonoid together in one epic tag team battle. Shin's jaw practically hits the floor when he learns they used to be in the same party. But then comes the real shocker. They weren't just teammates, they were married. Shin's still reeling from the realization that his grandparents were once an adventuring power couple. Like, wait, you two used to slay demons together? Suddenly, the family dinner stories hit way different. Anyway, King Disium, Shin's uncle, who casually runs an entire kingdom, tells him it's time to see the world beyond the forest. He suggests enrolling in the Magic Academy, promising it's a place where merit actually matters and nobility doesn't get special treatment. Merlin knows he can't keep Shin sheltered forever, so he reluctantly agrees. A few days later, Shin, Merlin, and Melinda head out for the capital. The moment they arrive at the city gates, chaos breaks out. Because apparently, the guards aren't used to having two literal legends stroll up for a routine ID check. Word spreads like wildfire, the wise man and the guru are in town, so yeah, they book it straight to their mansion before the paparazzi shows up. Once they settle in, Shin hits the market to explore like a tourist on his first vacation, but of course, he gets lost. While wandering through some sketchy alleys, he hears a girl screaming, 3 low-life adventurers cornering her. Shin steps in without hesitation. One guy swings at him, Shin dodges easily and slams him into the ground. The next gets a clean kick to the ribs, and the third pulls a dagger, which Shin catches with his bare hand before knocking him out cold. Absolute main character energy. After the scuffle, the girl checks if he's okay, and her friend thanks him. And boom, love at first sight. Shin's brain goes from combat mode to rom-com mode instantly. The two girls introduce themselves as Maria and Sicilian, and it turns out they're also applying to the Magic Academy. They grab drinks together, and Maria starts fangirling hard over her idol, Melinda, completely unaware she's talking to her teacher's grandson. Shin, not wanting to expose himself, quietly pays for their drinks and dips before things get awkward. Fast forward to exam day. Shin's trying to find his seat when some arrogant noble grabs him by the shoulder. Big mistake. Shin flips his arm in self-defense, and the guy, Kurt Rietzper, starts throwing around his family name like it's supposed to mean something. Before things escalate, Crown Prince August shows up and basically says, yeah, try that nobility nonsense again and see what happens. Turns out, he's the prince, and since Shin calls the king uncle, that makes August his cousin? Shin says it out loud, everyone panics, and August just laughs it off like, yeah sure, call me cousin, why not? During the written exam, Shin breezes through, but the real fun begins in the magic test. He's excited to see some real talent, until the first candidate chants for 30 seconds straight to make a baby flame. The crowd's amazed, Shin's mortified. One by one, everyone keeps chanting like they're in a choir rehearsal. When Shin's turn comes, the instructor nervously reminds him to go easy. He dials his magic way down, and still ends up blowing half the room away. So yeah, subtlety's not his strong suit. Naturally, he scores first place. When he goes to collect his uniform, the staff tells him it's already enchanted with protection spells and, oh yeah, since he's the top student, he has to give a speech at the entrance ceremony. Shin immediately tries to pass the job to August, but the prince plays his card. Sorry cousin, no special treatment for nobles. Touché. That night, Shin gets creative. He grabs his special pen and rewrites the enchantments on his uniform, adding auto-healing, magic to kinetic conversion, and basically turning it into a walking cheat code. When he finishes, he's so hyped he yells out in excitement, which immediately brings Melinda storming in like, what did you just do? The next day, she makes him swear not to tell anyone. At the entrance ceremony, Shin's name gets called, and Maria and Sicilian finally realize who he is. The hero's grandson they've been obsessing over this whole time. Shin keeps his cool, gives his speech, and takes his spot in the S-rank class alongside August and the girls. But Kurt? Yeah, he's not happy. Later, Sicilian confides that Kurt's been harassing her, claiming they're engaged. When he shows up again and tries to grab her, Shin steps in. He's ready to back off when Kurt mentions their engagement, until he sees her shaking with fear. Shin promises to protect her, and August quickly joins in, threatening to report Kurt straight to the king. Kurt storms off, furious. August, of course, starts teasing Shin for being a white knight in front of a cute girl. Worried Kurt might try something again, Shin invites the girls, and August back to his place for safety. Maria agrees instantly because, hello, she gets to meet her idol. At the house, Shin introduces everyone to Merlin and Melinda, explains the situation, and asks to enchant Sicilian's uniform for extra protection. Melinda pauses and goes, do you even realize what that means? She tells Sicilian that once Shin enchants something, it basically becomes a national treasure. Cue emotional breakdown. Sicilian starts crying, thinking she's taking advantage of his kindness. Melinda comforts her and lets Shin go through with it anyway. King Dizium later makes everyone swear to keep it secret because if the army found out, they'd all be begging Shin for upgrades. And, well, Shin ends up enchanting everyone's clothes except Maria's. She says she doesn't need the pressure of wearing something worth more than a castle. Next morning, Shin walks Sicilian to school, casually using search magic to make sure no one's following her. She's touched by how protective he is, and their little moment gets completely ruined by Maria watching from behind like, yeah, I'm third-wheeling hard right now? In school, Prince August spots them and gives Shin the look. That's when a blonde-haired girl bursts into the classroom, out of breath and grinning. Sorry I'm late. I couldn't sleep. I was too excited for my first day. And just like that, Alice Corner joins the squad. Anyway, their teacher shows up and takes the class on a school tour. introducing all kinds of clubs, magic, potion making, even bodybuilding. Because who doesn't want to bench press demons for fun? Julius immediately gets heart eyes for the bodybuilding club, but since he's technically an escort, he hesitates. Luckily, Prince August gives him the green light. Finally, some freedom for the man. When it's Shin's turn to pick, he's just like, I don't know? So August, being the idea guy, suggests he start his own club. The teacher loves it, the class cheers him on, and boom, Ultimate Magic Study Group is born. The purpose? Simple, learn advanced magic from Shin, the walking cheat code himself. The next day, everyone finds out Kurt got grounded, which, fair. Turns out he wasn't always a jerk, he only changed after spending too much time in a shady lab owned by their former teacher, Mr. Strom. The dude supposedly had an eye for talent, but everyone avoided him because he gave off mad scientist who'll definitely betray humanity vibes. Meanwhile, Scissorlian looks kinda down, realizing Shin doesn't need to walk her to school anymore now that Kurt's gone, but when he tells her he still wants to, she lights up like a Christmas tree. Shin also mentions that with his search magic, he can sense ill intent. Everyone's like, wait, that's possible? He explains that evil magic gives off a certain vibe similar to demons, which naturally leads to the question, has he ever fought one? Oh, you know, just when he was 10 years old and killed a 3-meter demon bear solo, no big deal. Few moments later, while walking back to his classroom, Shin freezes. He feels that same demonic energy nearby, and sure enough, it's Kurt. The guy shows up completely unhinged and launches a massive fire attack out of nowhere. Shin barely blocks it, but his hands get scorched through the barrier. Thankfully, his auto-healing enchantment kicks in before things get messy. The group realizes Kurt's not himself anymore. He's radiating dark energy, literally transforming into a demon right before their eyes. Shin tells August to get everyone out while he holds the line. August doesn't like it but eventually agrees. Alone now, Shin powers up. Kurt hurls explosive fireballs. Shin dodges with jet speed footwork, returning attacks that hit way harder than intended. Kurt starts talking. Full sentences. Demonoids aren't supposed to do that. Kurt keeps raging, his magic spiraling out of control until it's about to blow, literally. Shin realizes if he detonates, the entire school's done for. With no choice left, Shin dashes in, sword glowing at ultrasonic speed, and cuts him down mid-charge. Silence. He drops to his knees, staring at what used to be a classmate. For the first time, it really hits him. This wasn't just another monster, he just killed a person. Moments later, his friends rush in, eyes wide with shock. They can barely believe what they're seeing, Shin standing over a slain demon. Meanwhile, in the shadows, Strom the shady teacher watches with interest. He's the one responsible for Kurt's transformation, and now, Shin's caught his attention. When August arrives, he immediately realizes something's off. There's no way Kurt could have accidentally transformed. The magic was way too complex. They conclude the horrifying truth: Kurt was used as a test subject for human experimentation. Later that day, Shin returns home to find the king waiting for him. DCM announces that the entire nation already knows about the incident, so like it or not, Shin's now a hero. He gets awarded the first merit honor, which he's not exactly thrilled about. Merlin protests, but the king insists the people need a symbol of hope, and Shin's it. Next morning, the guy can't even walk down the street without girls whispering his name. He's the new campus heartthrob, and Scissorlian's presence beside him just convinces everyone they're already a couple. Not that she minds. At school, Shin's club instantly becomes the hottest thing on campus. Everyone wants in, so the teacher decides to set a little filter: you can only join if you can use dimensional storage, magic. That cuts the crowd down fast. In the end, only 2 new members pass: Mark Bean, a blacksmith's son, and his childhood friend Olivia Stone, whose family runs a popular diner. The girls are thrilled, they eat there all the time. Olivia even promises to reserve them a table, perks of being in the Heroes Club. Shin mentions wanting a custom weapon, but Mark's like, bro, I can barely forge a butter knife. Shin laughs it off, explaining he just wants to tweak the sword design since his old ultrasonic blade broke too easily. Their classmate Yuri, an aspiring enchanter, praises his insane skills, but Shin encourages her to keep at it and even offers to introduce her to Melinda, which makes her immediately fan out. Meanwhile, back at the Knight's HQ, Mr. Strom finally drops the act. Surrounded by soldiers, he stops pretending to be innocent and straight up confesses to performing human experiments. With his cover blown, he's ready to make his move. As Shin and the group arrive on the scene, they find Strom at the center of chaos, calmly admitting to turning Kurt into a demon. Shin doesn't waste a second, flames ignite around him as he charges forward. Their duel is pure chaos. Explosions, magic clashes, earth tearing apart. But even with all that power, Strom's smug grin never fades. Shin goes in for another strike, misses on purpose, and starts chanting. Turns out, he's just stalling to activate something huge, a spell that concentrates sunlight. Dozens of laser-like beams rain from the sky, vaporizing everything in their path. The ground literally turns to glass from the heat. The explosion's insane, but Shin's not convinced it's over. Something tells him Shrum's still alive. He's thanked by the royal knights for saving the day again, but later admits to August that the whole thing felt off. The lack of debris, the strange explosion, it all screams escape tactic. August agrees and offers full royal funding for Shin's new gear, knowing they'll have to face Shrum again. At the blacksmith shop, the gang's greeted by Mark and Olivia. The girls instantly drag Olivia off for some gossip, leaving the boys to deal with Mark's dad, who immediately drops to his knees when he learns Shin's the new hero and Merlin's grandson. Talk about first impressions. Later, Shin spots an accessory shop and decides to buy something nice for Sicilian, totally innocent by the way. But when he slips the enchanted ring on her finger and says, "This'll protect you in my place," she melts. Meanwhile, his friends are in the back whispering like, "Bro just proposed." Days later, Shin receives his award from the king in front of nobles and dignitaries. The king then makes it official. No one's allowed to use Shin for political or military purposes. Break that rule and Merlin's family walks out of the kingdom for good. And the next day, Shin casually teleports to school using gate magic because he was tired of dodging fans. He even tries explaining how it works, reducing distance between 2 points instead of regular teleportation, but everyone's brains just short-circuit. From there, Shin starts training his friends seriously. He tests their magic control, showing that spell strength isn't about incantations, but about raw mana. Then, to prove a point, he releases his own aura and nearly makes everyone pass out. Yeah, lesson learned, don't mess with the prodigy. Eventually, he takes them to meet Merlin, who laughs and says fame's just the price of being a celebrity. When the students ask if he taught Shin all those insane spells, Merlin admits he only taught the basics. Shin reinvented magic on his own. Then, to everyone's surprise, the old man flexes by using gate magic himself. Turns out he finally cracked the code after studying Shin's technique. Moral of the story? If a grandpa can do it, so can you. Inspired, the students start practicing, though maybe a bit too hard. The next day, Lin shows up to school, singed, bruised, and smiling proudly. She says, "It got out of hand." Shin's like, "Yeah, clearly." Soon after, the group visits Mark's smithy again, and this time, the first prototype of Shin's special sword is finally ready. So, Shin's new sword design? Absolute genius. With just a pull of the trigger, the blade pops right out of the hilt, ready to swap in a new one. It's like a fantasy world version of a Nerf gun, but you know, with decapitation potential. Tony, the guy who came up with the idea, is grinning ear to ear watching it in action, and even August is impressed. August asks if Shin would mind the army adopting this design. Not the ultrasonic blade, of course, that thing's too advanced, but the replaceable one. Makes sense, cheaper maintenance, more efficiency, and hey, war's on the horizon with the Blustia Empire, so saving gold and lives sounds like a good plan. Naturally, the others are anxious. If there's a war, wouldn't Shin get drafted? August quickly reassures them that the kingdom will honor its word and won't drag him into politics or battle. But Shin just shakes his head. "Even if they don't send for me," he says, "I'm not sitting back while my friends are in danger." Yeah, our boy's built different. Meanwhile, in classic villain fashion, Shrum, who somehow survived the last boss fight, is already cooking up trouble. He manipulates the Emperor of the Blustia Empire into declaring war on the Earlshide Kingdom, claiming they're already being overrun by demons. The Emperor takes the bait and his army marches straight into a trap. Earlshide's forces crush them. But when the Emperor retreats home, he finds his own capital burning. Turns out, Shrum brought his demon army straight to the Blustia Empire's doorstep. By the time the Emperor reaches his throne room, Shrum's already waiting for him like, "You're late." Before the poor guy can even call for help, he's bound by dark magic and vaporized. Instant game over. When Lord Gaster and Rupert arrive later, expecting to confront the Emperor, they instead find Shrum and his demons waiting. They wisely retreat, and the report they bring back makes the king realize things just went from possible war to actual apocalypse. The entire kingdom shifts to high alert. Even the Magic Academy starts prepping students for real combat. Their big plan? Joint training with the Order of Knights. Yeah, that goes over about as well as you'd expect. The students immediately start groaning because knights and magicians don't exactly get along. The knights call them sprouts, implying they're weak, while the magicians fire back with muscle brains. Shin tries to play mediator, but since he's both a sword fighter and a magician, nobody knows whose side he's even on. During the training mission, both groups are tasked with clearing out demons from the forest. As soon as they gather outside the city, the knights start whispering about the so-called hero Shin, expecting him to slow them down. Oh, the irony. Inside the carriage, Shin tries to make small talk, asking if they've ever fought a demon before. They immediately take offense, acting like he insulted their honor or something. Shin calmly explains that if they can't work together, they'll all be dead in 5 minutes. August jumps in to smooth things over, but he's not buying their fake politeness either. So, he gives Shin a sneaky order: don't fight any demons at first, let the knights strut around, fail miserably, and then realize how much they need magic support. Petty? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Once they reach the forest, their supervisors, the cool and composed Christina and the fan-favorite Siegfried, welcome them. Shin begs everyone to keep things civil, but, well, good luck with that. Within minutes, Maria and the girls are swooning over Siegfried, while the male knights are practically bowing to Christina. Shin just stands there like, this is supposed to be military training? August explains that those two are basically celebrity knights, elite enough to guard the king himself. When he tells them about the plan to let the knights fight solo at first, the supervisors agree. Better to let them learn the hard way. The knights keep their guard up, but Shin can tell there's no demon nearby yet. Then suddenly, one appears, a massive raging boar. While everyone tenses up for battle, Shin's first thought is, man, that thing would have made great barbecue if it wasn't corrupted. The knights charge in bravely and immediately get wrecked. Their swords can't pierce its hide, their formation breaks, and panic spreads fast. Just as the boar is about to trample them, Shin sighs, draws his sword, and slices the demon clean in half with one effortless swing. Christina gives the knights a brutal scolding right after, reminding them they're nowhere near ready. Sicilian heals their wounds, and suddenly, the same knights who were just mocking magicians are now simping hard, calling her an angel. Shin's definitely not loving the attention she's getting. Then, before anyone can recover from the embarrassment, a scout rushes in. Over 100 demons are heading their way, led by a catastrophe-class monster. Everyone panics. Shin, completely calm, steps forward and says, I'll handle it. The others clear out as he prepares what's basically a magical nuke. The enemy appears, a massive, terrifying horde, and Shin fires one single spell. Boom! The entire forest just disappears. Gone. Flattened. Everyone stares in stunned silence. Even Christina and Siegfried, who've seen real wars, are speechless. The same knights who mocked him minutes ago are now apologizing, calling him sir, and begging Sicilien's forgiveness for assuming she was dating someone ordinary. And yeah, by this point everyone knows Shin and Sicilien are a thing, mostly because they keep blushing every time someone mentions it. After that, the teams finally start working like an actual unit. They take down another demon, this time a bear, with perfect coordination. Knights up front, magicians supporting from behind, Shin blocking attacks with his barrier, and Sicilien healing them all like a pro. Even the supervisors are impressed. Siegfried admits he's curious how Shin's friends got so strong. Their magic control is on par with court magicians. Shin explains it's all thanks to their ultimate magic study group, where they practice advanced techniques based on Merlin's methods. Siegfried, starstruck, immediately asks if he can join too. But before Shin can answer, August steps in like, yeah, no, we're not turning the Royal Knights into a study group. He reminds everyone that Shin's magic is too powerful. Spreading it could risk the world itself if it falls into the wrong hands. Siegfried accepts that but at least wants to learn the basics. August agrees and tells him that the secret is just consistent magic control practice. Simple, but game-changing. Maria and Sicilien show off their barriers as proof, which impresses Siegfried and sends Maria spiraling into delusion when he compliments her. Elsewhere, we see Tony's group dealing with their own drama. His former knight buddy still holds a grudge because Tony left him for the Magician Academy, but when wolf demons attack, Tony's magic wipes them out instantly, leaving only craters behind. Hard to stay mad after seeing that. Meanwhile, Lin, Alice, Yuri, and Thor have their own scuffle with some dog demons. The knights start off acting all macho, until they get wrecked and the girls save their hides. Lin goes a bit overboard though, her spell explodes, and by the time they regroup, everyone's hair is basically fried. Back at the gates, Shin sees the aftermath. Frizzy hair, awkward tension, and a newly humbled Tony. Maria, being Maria, teases Shin and Sicilien for flirting through the mission, but quickly shifts gears to brag about how smooth their training went. August uses that moment to announce that once they graduate, Shin's group will likely be placed under national supervision, basically forming an elite squad under his command. Shin apologizes for dragging them into something so serious, but his friends couldn't be happier. They're proud to stand beside him and they all agree to train even harder. Cut to a few days later, Shin brings his study group to the Barren Mountains for some next-level magic training. Their attacks are so strong that even August jokes, it feels like watching the National Magic Division in action. Afterward, August gathers everyone and drops some classified info. The Blustia Empire is in ruins, demons are multiplying, and it's only a matter of time before they spread further. Shin's sure Sturm is behind it all, so he proposes a special training camp to prepare. They decide to hold it near a hot spring owned by Sicilien's family, because of course, the anime gods demanded a hot spring arc. When Shin tells his grandparents, they're totally on board, until Melita finds out boys and girls will be staying together. She insists on supervising, purely out of moral duty, of course, and ropes Merlin into coming too. The next morning, the squad gathers at the gates, with Shin's grandparents tagging along like two kids on vacation. Just as everyone's settling in, Shin suddenly senses danger. A group of merchants ahead is surrounded by wolf demons, and his friends are eager to help. So, how do they decide who gets to jump in first? With the most scientific method imaginable, drawing chopsticks. Because of course they do. Alright, so Lin wins the draw, and in true Lin fashion, she doesn't just win. She obliterates the entire pack of wolf demons with one massive wind spell like she's trying to impress the weather gods. After that little overkill session, the group finally arrives at the hot spring city of Claude and heads straight to Sicilien's family mansion. The staff greets them warmly, and by warmly, I mean they're already treating Shin like he's the future son-in-law. Sicilian's blushing, Shin's panicking, the usual. Later, they all hit the hot springs to relax. It's one of those rare calm moments where everyone drops the hero stuff and just chills. Merlin uses the opportunity to thank the boys for being friends with Shin. August returns the compliment, saying he never had a friend who treated him like a normal guy instead of a prince. Soon, everyone joins in, talking about how much Shin's changed their lives. It's wholesome enough to make even Melita proud. The next morning, training begins under Merlin's supervision. Lin once again unleashes too much magic and nearly nukes the group. After that, Melita takes over, giving lectures about magic gear and proper chanting techniques, basically a crash course in how not to die by your own spell. Then comes the practical training, where Shin takes everyone into the mountains to train without chanting. Their spell work is already so overpowered that Melita jokes they could replace the entire magic department. But Shin and Merlin aren't satisfied, they know what's coming. Shin, thinking ahead to the inevitable showdown with Sturm, decides to test out a new spell. Everyone immediately throws up their magic barriers because they know what test means in Shin language, property damage. He starts by creating highly combustible gas to form blue fireballs. This time, he's not going for a big explosion, he wants control. When it's perfect, he lets it rip. The result? 3 hills? Gone. Vaporized. While Shin's grinning like a kid who just discovered fireworks, the students are all staring at him like he's a walking nuke pretending to be humble. After class, everyone heads back, and August asks Shin to teleport him to the castle for a quick war update. Shin opens a gate, and when they step through, they're greeted by a moody blonde girl waiting impatiently. August's fiancée, Ellie. The moment she sees him, she goes full angry anime girlfriend, scolding him for leaving her behind. And just when August is sweating bullets, his younger sister Mei shows up, and she's fully on Ellie's side. Not because she missed her brother, but because he's been spending time with Guru Melita, her absolute idol. August teases her, Mei gets embarrassed, and then she notices Shin. Cue instant fluster mode. She introduces herself as Melita's #1 fan, and Shin thinks she's adorable. August, trying to regain control of the situation, asks why the girls are even here, only for them to proudly announce they're coming along to the training camp. August laughs nervously and says the king would never allow that, and then, from off-screen, the king allows it. Instantly, August's soul leaves his body while Shin's trying not to laugh. The next moment, they're all teleported back to the hot spring city, and August immediately jumps in with his big brother mode, telling her to stay close to Shin and do exactly what he says. Then he turns to Ellie, saying she can stay if she wants, but there won't be anyone to pamper her here. Ellie just smirks and says she didn't come to be pampered, she came to make sure he doesn't get distracted by anyone else. Shin's sitting there thinking, wait, is she jealous? But Ellie quickly clarifies that no, she's not jealous of the girls, she's jealous of Shin, because apparently every time she talks to August, all he does is rave about his best bro. Yeah, that gets awkward fast. August quickly smooths things over, telling her she's the only one for him. They grab dinner afterward, and during the meal, August turns the tables on Shin, telling him to stop chickening out and confess to Sicilienne already, because everyone can see how in love they are. Shin's unsure, asking what happens if he misreads things and ruins their friendship. August just looks at him and goes, "Are you happy like this? Or are you gonna wait for her to confess first like a coward?" And that question hits Shin harder than any magic blast. By the time they're back at the mansion, Shin's completely lost in thought. Meanwhile, Ellie and Mei are already stirring chaos by telling Sicilian that Shin wouldn't stop talking about her during their trip. Then the girls meet Melita and Merlin, and Mei just about faints seeing her idol in person. Melita finds her adorable and jokes that she wishes Shin had been that cute as a kid. But nope, he was a little terror who couldn't be left alone for 5 minutes. Everyone laughs and agrees, except Sicilian, who suddenly blurts out that she doesn't agree. She believes their kids will be wonderful, and then it hits her what she just said. Her face turns bright red, everyone starts teasing her for thinking that far ahead, and she runs off in embarrassment while Shin just stands there looking like, well, guess I really do need to confess now. So, August decides to play wingman, and basically tells Shin, dude, it's obvious, Cecily's into you, just admit it already. Later that night, Shin goes out for a walk, and guess who he finds sitting alone under the moonlight? Yup, Cecily. He walks up, they both sit there in awkward silence like two NPCs waiting for a dialogue prompt. Eventually, Cecily breaks the tension and apologizes for what she said earlier, and Shin admits he was actually kinda happy to hear it. One thing leads to another, and they start reminiscing about the first time they met. All nostalgic and blushy. Shin finally confesses that when he first saw her, it felt like lightning struck his heart. Cecily fires back with a shy smile, saying she thought he was pretty handsome too. And just like that, Shin mans up and confesses for real. Cecily bursts into happy tears, says she loves him too, and the two lean in for that long-awaited first kiss, except, plot twist, their friends have been spying on them this whole time, and they literally fall out of their hiding spot right before the kiss lands. And if that's not embarrassing enough, Shin's grandparents are also there. Yeah, nothing says romance like your family witnessing your becoming a man moment. Yenin loudly declares them an official couple. Cecily's manager pops out of the bushes to congratulate them, and August gives Shin a pat on the back, followed by, congrats bro, but don't slack on training. Next day, it's beach time. But don't get too excited, it's not for fun, it's training. Which basically means beach volleyball fan service edition, but with magic. The match kicks off with Alice yeeting the ball into the sky and smashing it down with a power spell, only for Olivia to catch it like a pro. Thor sets up, and August adds a gust of air to keep it flying. Then Lin jumps in and slams it with a fire spell straight at Yuri, who tries to block it with water magic and fails. First point down, everyone's hyped. Shin, meanwhile, is wondering if mastering volleyball is really this easy. And just when things seem under control, a random fireball almost roasts Ellie and May, until Merlin blocks it with a barrier like the true MVP. The game resumes because, hey, this chaos still counts as magic control training. By nightfall, everyone's chilling at the mansion. Shin learns that all these nobles have actually known each other since they were 5, thanks to royal birthday parties. The group starts swapping stories. Love lives, parties, the usual, until Shin suddenly tells everyone to quiet down. And right on cue, Melina barges in, telling them to sleep early for tomorrow's training. They pretend to be asleep, lights out, total silence, except somehow Shin and Cecily ended up in the same bed, and let's just say her reactions give them away. Melina catches them, everyone gets busted, and Shin's dignity takes another hit. Next morning, the two lovebirds cross paths in the hallway, instantly turning red, remembering what happened. Shin awkwardly tries to change the subject, breakfast? But Cecily asks him to come meet her parents before her dad leaves for work. So, Shin shows up, tries to act all polite, and admits he's dating their daughter. He expects a scolding, maybe a sword to the face, but instead, Cecily's dad grabs his hands and thanks him for choosing his daughter. Shin's brain just blue screens. Her mom, being the calm one, steps in and says, that's sweet, but nobles don't date casually. If you're serious, you'll need to be engaged. Shin doesn't even flinch, says yes on the spot. Boom, engagement approved. Later, back in the mountains, training kicks off again. Tony and Thor are spamming fireballs like it's target practice, and Ellie's horrified. But Shin just shrugs, saying it's their warm-up. Merlin offers to teach Ellie and May some magic control. Ellie passes, claiming she's hopeless, but May gives it a shot and turns out to be a prodigy. Merlin and Melina praise her, and suddenly all the girls get competitive. Lin tries to outdo her and explodes, classic Lin. Then Shin announces he's making a new kind of magic. His friends instantly hide behind barriers because they know how this usually ends. Shin picks up a rock, pours magic into it, and it floats. Anti-gravity magic. Everyone's jaws drop. He explains it using modern science terms that go way over their heads, but hey, he even tries it on himself and starts flying around with wind magic like a kid with a new toy. Turns out, he made this to counter Shaxram's flying ability. Later that night, Shin tells his grandparents that he's now engaged to Cecily. And yeah, they're shocked. He apologizes for not mentioning it sooner, but hey, it's been a pretty eventful week. Melina and Merlin aren't even mad. So, road trip time. The grandparents and Shin head over, and during the visit, Merlin and Melina finally drop the truth bomb. They're not actually related to Shin by blood. They just felt like Cecily's parents deserve to know, since, let's be real, that detail might change how people view the engagement. But Cecily's dad? He's having none of that. He's actually disappointed. Not in Shin, but in them, for assuming his family would care about something so shallow. He says they agreed to the engagement not because of titles or family lines, but because Shin genuinely values Cecily and keeps her safe. That hits everyone right in the feels. Shin thanks Cecily's parents, then turns to his grandparents to thank them for raising him right. Cue the emotional moment. Everyone's teary-eyed and the audience collectively goes, "Aw." A few days later, Shin rolls in with brand new outfits for everyone. And not just any outfits. These things come with defensive enchantments, built-in camouflage, and even temperature control. Basically, national treasure level gear. The only thing missing? Enchanted boots. Shin announces that they're doing full-on combat training, taking down a catastrophe-class demon. Everyone else? Panic mode, but Shin assures them they've trained enough, and with their new gear, they'll be fine. Shin warns that it's slow, but extremely strong. Cecily suggests using ranged magic, and Shin pats her head to compliment her, which instantly makes all the single people in the group collectively sigh. Anyway, back to work. Shin puts Julius, Yuri, Mark, Cecily, and Olivia in a team to take the beast down. The lion spots them. Shin gives the signal, and they all unleash their magic at once. Multi-elemental chaos. The explosion that follows is massive. When the smoke clears, there's no lion. Just a crater. Shin realizes sending 5 mages at one target might have been a bit of an overkill, but hey, good news, if the support team can do that, the main attackers can probably solo these things. So everyone goes hunting. 1 catastrophe-level demon each and they all win. Later that evening, Shin suits up for his engagement party. Cecily walks in to get him, looking stunning, and Shin just freezes. The two share one of those, lost in each other's eyes, anime moments, until Cecily's mom interrupts like, "Cute, but the guests are waiting." Downstairs, the party's in full swing. Friends, family, even the king shows up to congratulate them and serve as witness. Later that night, Shin and Cecily sneak out to the balcony. Shin pulls out a ring, yeah, a real one this time, and officially proposes. Cecily offers her hand, he slips the ring on her finger, and finally, they kiss. The next morning, Shin decides to casually teach everyone how to fly. He uses his anti-gravity spell on the group, then has them use wind magic to steer themselves around. Because why walk when you can hover? Meanwhile, things are looking a lot darker elsewhere. Over in the Blossia Empire, a guy named Strom and his demon army have gone full apocalypse mode, burning towns, destroying villages, and turning people into demons. His lieutenants, Zest and Miria, report that everything's gone according to plan. Zest's squad attacked trade routes, food became scarce, nobles hoarded resources, and Strom used the people's anger to turn them against the nobility. Soon, Strom calls a meeting with his entire demon army. He praises them for wiping the empire off the map, but then casually says, "Alright, I'm done, that was my goal." The demons freak out, wanting to conquer the rest of the world, but Strom just shrugs. "Do what you want, I'm not interested." After the crowd disperses, Miria asks the question everyone's been wondering, why does he hate the empire so much? Turns out, Strom used to be one of them, a duke, a noble who actually cared about his people. His lands were prosperous, his wife was expecting their first child, life was good. But his kindness made him enemies. The other nobles, of course, hated him for it. The guy was rich, popular, and making them all look bad. So the soon-to-be emperor cooked up a plan. One day, Strom gets a letter from the nobles saying they want to adopt his policies. He's thrilled, thinking he's finally inspired real change. His wife warns him that something feels off, but he brushes it off. He's one of the strongest magicians in the empire. What could go wrong? Answer, everything. While he's away, people in his territory start disappearing. The nobles spread rumors saying Strom's been kidnapping citizens and selling them as slaves. The people panic, the lies spread, and before long, the entire town turns against him. Then, the nobles stage evidence. Fake soldiers show up with kidnapped girls in a wagon marked with Strom's crest. That's all it takes. The people snap. They storm his mansion and set it on fire, with his pregnant wife still inside. By the time Strom returns home, everything's gone. His house is in flames, his wife is dead, and the same people he helped are now screaming that he's a monster. They tell him the Imperial Police showed proof of his crimes. And that's when something in him breaks. Grief turns to rage. Rage turns to hatred. The air around him goes dark, literally. Magic energy starts pouring out of him like a black storm. Strom curses the Empire, the nobles, and the people who repaid his kindness with betrayal. His body twists, his soul corrodes, and right there, he transforms into a demon. The sheer power of that transformation wipes his entire town off the map. Back in the present, his lieutenant Zest realizes something. Their boss already achieved his revenge. The Empire's gone, so now what? Well, Zest decides to make things interesting. He sends his assistant to attack a small kingdom near Earlshide just to draw out Shin for a fight. Cut to the capital of Earlshide, where Prince August's coronation ceremony is underway, all fancy and peaceful, until a messenger bursts in, yelling about demons near the border. The crowd panics, but August keeps his cool and assures everyone that the special unit has this covered. Then he calls Shin up to the stage and introduces him as the hero who saved the Magic Academy. The crowd goes wild. August hypes up Shin even more, claiming that thanks to him, their military's stronger than ever. Then, in peak anime fashion, he throws off his royal cloak to reveal his battle gear underneath. He tells Shin to give the people a little performance to calm their nerves and to come up with a cool team name while he's at it. Shin, being put on the spot, panics and blurts out, "We're the ultimate magicians." Yeah, you could hear the collective cringe echo through the capital. So, the newly crowned ultimate magicians take off. Meanwhile, in the small border kingdom, things are looking really bad. The Knight Commander spots an army of demons approaching and instantly knows they're doomed. Even if they call for backup, reinforcements would take a week. Still, he orders his magicians to put up barriers around the castle walls. They barely manage to block the first wave of attacks, but it's clear they're not lasting long. Then, up in the clouds, Shin and the squad arrive, still roasting him for that team name. August is having the time of his life teasing him, while Lin actually thinks it sounds cool. Shin's like, "It's too late to rebrand now, dying inside." When they finally reach the kingdom, it's chaos. Flames everywhere, people running, demons attacking for fun. As one of the demons is about to kill a woman and her daughter, Shin literally dropkicks it mid-air. The second demon charges him, laughing that a mere human dares to challenge them. But that laugh dies fast when Shin powers up a blue flame cannon, one shot. They help the woman and her kid to safety before Shin looks around at the destruction, his blood boiling. Then he spots August and Maria on a high tower. August rallies the people, announcing that they're reinforcements from Earlshide, led by none other than Shin, the hero who slays demons solo. The crowd cheers, the demons snarl, and just like that, the battle's on. The group splits up into pairs and fans out across the city. Shin tells Cecily to stay safe and keep healing civilians, and she tells him to do the same. Neither of them notices Zest's spy lurking nearby, eager to test Shin's power firsthand. Meanwhile, Alice and Lin team up and track down their first target using a search spell. They find a demon standing over a pile of defeated knights. The demon looks them up and down and mocks them for being flatter than a surfboard and asks if they're lost on their way to a Barbie convention. Yeah, but before she can charge, Lin splashes her with water magic like, "Focus. He's not worth the emotional damage." Because when you're fighting demons, rule number 1, don't take the bait. Alice takes a deep breath and says she'll calm down this time, but Lin just shrugs and goes, "Too late. He's already dead." Turns out, while Alice was hyping herself up, Lin had already blasted the demon with a high-pressure water attack. Before they can even celebrate, they hear a knight screaming nearby. They rush over to find another demon toying with the guy like it's his personal stress relief toy. The demon fires off a destructive spell, but the girls drop in like absolute pros, blocking it mid-air with their magic barriers. Then, because apparently demons share one brain cell, this one calls Alice flatter than an iPhone screen. Yeah, bad idea. Alice completely snaps and nukes him with a fire spell so strong it doesn't even leave ashes behind. Once the dust settles, the knight insists he can walk himself to safety. Total tough guy moment. So the girls decide to make things fun and start competing over who can rack up the most demon kills. Meanwhile, Julius and Thor are dealing with their own tag team of demons. One charges in for close combat, but Julius blocks him while Thor slices through a ranged attack with a clean wind blade. Thor asks if they're doing this under Shrump's orders, but the demon just grins and says they're only following their instincts to destroy everything. Turns out, all that hatred toward the nobles who used to oppress them boiled over when they became demons. Now they just want to burn the world. Unfortunately for them, Thor's not in the mood for therapy, and he and Julius finish them off in seconds. Elsewhere, a couple more demons corner a group of knights until a glowing magic circle appears under one of them. He freezes instantly. The other turns to see Yuri perched on a rooftop, but before he can move, Tony blitzes in and slices both demons clean in one motion. Back at the rescue center, things are heating up, literally. A pack of demons makes a run for it, only to get greeted by Mark and Olivia. But before the demon can reach him, a massive concrete block crashes down from above. But then Mark steps up, blasting a fire spell that turns the second demon to ash. Teamwork goals. Inside, Cecily's barely keeping up with the endless stream of injured, while outside, Shin's basically soloing the entire raid. Demons attack from all directions, and he's wiping them out like it's a warm-up exercise. Zest's assistant, who's been spying on him this whole time, is sweating bullets now. He came here to find Shin's weakness, but at this point, he's realizing Shin might be the final boss. Meanwhile, August and Maria just cleared their area when the demon leader shows up looking for a challenge. The demon assumes August is the leader of this so-called ultimate magicians, but August laughs and says, "Nice try, but not quite." Still, he's more than happy to play along and take the demon out himself. Before the demon can move, Maria ambushes him with a sneak attack, but he blocks it using 2 humans as shields. Brutal. He then hurls them aside and sucker punches Maria into a wall. Luckily, her uniform's built with defensive enchantments that absorb most of the impact. She channels magic into her gear, healing her wounds on the spot, which makes the demon realize the uncovered parts of her body are still weak points. Then unleashes a barrage of fireballs that turns the whole area into a mini-sun. When the smoke clears, he's somehow still standing protected by a stolen defensive artifact. The fight turns into a fast-paced magic duel, Maria and August attacking from opposite sides, hammering his defenses over and over until his barrier finally cracks. Maria lands the decisive blast, and August follows it up with a lightning spell so precise it leaves a perfect hole through the demon's chest. Game over. Back on the sidelines, Zest's assistant is in disbelief. Shin's team isn't just strong, they're all monsters in their own right. Even Zest and Miria, watching from afar, admit that continuing this fight is suicide. Still, retreating won't be easy, so Miria decides to buy them time. She blows open the city gates and starts detonating explosions everywhere, taking on the knights herself. Just when she's about to finish off their commander, Lin and Alice swoop in and block her spell. They tell the commander to fall back, this one's on them. Miria pauses, intrigued, and asks who they are. Together they yell, "We're the ultimate magicians." The fight kicks off hard. Lin launches a lightning strike, but Miria dodges easily. Alice tries again, but Miria zips behind her, striking from below and sending her crashing down. Lin rushes to help, but Miria grabs Alice as a shield. Things are about to get intense. On the other side of the battlefield, Zest's assistant suddenly gets a message. The boss is here. His face drops instantly. He yells for the demons to retreat, but of course they don't listen. And that's when Shin shows up like a level 1000 raid boss and torches one of them in a single hit. The rest finally get the memo and start running for their lives. He keeps on attacking them as they run away, but then they get on the roofs. Shin's not done. He takes off with his floating magic and casts the magic laser beam to hunt the demons. He swings the beam to destroy all the demons escaping by jumping over the wall. Just as he's about to wipe out the last group, he spots some knights in the line of fire and cuts the spell short. Then, boom, massive explosions light up the distance. Over there, Miria's locked in a duel with Lin, and since she's holding Alice hostage, Lin doesn't stand a chance. Yuri and Tony rush in to help, but Miria's basically built different. Yuri sneaks an attack from behind, but Miria just grabs Alice and throws her straight into the blast like she's playing dodgeball with human shields. Alice manages to block it with a barrier, but it still knocks her and Yuri out cold. Tony jumps in next. He swings his sonic blade, but Miria sidesteps, disarms him, and slams him into a wall with a point-blank attack. She traps Lin under a rock prison and turns her attention to Alice again. Alice tries to protect Tony, but Miria's faster, one stone projectile to the gut, and she's down too. Now it's just Yuri left, terrified, trembling, as Miria approaches for the kill. But before she can strike, Shin appears. His voice is calm, but you can tell he's furious. He frees Lin, heals her up, and tells Yuri to look after the others. Miria smirks. Finally, someone worth fighting. She charges at him. Shin meets her attack with his sonic blade, but she's fast, dodges, traps him inside a stone cage, and goes in for the finish. Too bad for her, Shin slices straight through the rocks and blocks her next strike with a barrier, triggering a massive explosion. They clash again, until August and the others arrive for backup. Seeing she's outnumbered, she runs off. Shin tries to chase her down with his jet boots, but a massive ice wall rises in his path, courtesy of Zest's assistant, who clearly doesn't want this fight to end today. He orders Miria to go all out. She takes to the sky, gathering magic so intense it's practically ripping the air apart. Shin looks around. His friends are battered, barely standing, and realizes if this hits, it's over. So he does what he does best, steps up. The demons unleash their attack, and the world turns white. Everyone braces behind their barriers while Shin channels everything he's got to protect them. His magic strains, but he forces the blast upward, and when the smoke clears, the demons are gone. Everyone's still alive. Barely. Later, as the dust settles, they regroup and analyze what just happened. Miria's no ordinary demon. Her magic's way too advanced. August can't figure out why Shrum would even bother attacking a small nation like this after wiping out the Empire. Shin suspects it wasn't his main force, just a test. A distraction. Whatever it was, they all know things could have gone much worse. Back in the city, August and Shin rush to the rescue center, and it's chaos. Wounded everywhere. Cecily's inside, pushing herself to the limit healing people, with Mark and Olivia assisting. But she's burning out fast. She collapses next to a man with fatal injuries, crying that she can't save him. Desperate, she starts unbuttoning her clothes, saying her uniform is infused with healing magic and might help him survive. But before she can do something crazy, Shin rushes in, covers her with his coat, tells her it's too late for normal healing. Then he kneels, channels his magic, and starts working. Piece by piece, he regenerates the man's organs. Calm, steady, surgical. It's the kind of precision magic only Shin can pull off. When it's over, the patient's alive, his wife's crying with gratitude, and Cecily's just standing there, feeling completely outclassed. Outside, she grabs Shin's sleeve, tears welling up, saying she'll never be as good as him, that she's useless and always relying on him, but Shin stops her right there. He reminds her that she's the reason the man was still alive when he got there. And as the people she saved gather around, thanking her and calling her a saint, you can see the doubt melt away from her face. Later, the ultimate magicians meet with King Swede, who thanks them for saving the kingdom. August points out that something about this whole attack doesn't add up. Shrum knows their power, yet still sent demons here. He proposes forming an alliance between their nations, and the king agrees without hesitation. With that, Shin and the others prepare for what's next. They know this isn't over. Another attack could come any time. August says they'll protect the world together, and Shin nods. It's official. The ultimate magicians are now humanity's frontline defense. They return to Earlside's capital through the gate, where knights and magicians are already waiting. A huge celebration kicks off to honor the ultimate magicians, who drove away the demons, though Shin still cringes every time he hears that name. During the feast, August updates his father about the new alliance and asks permission to contact other nations to form a united front. The king agrees, making August his ambassador. Shin, of course, gets permission to tag along. And when May and Ellie announce they're coming too, August tries to object, only for his dad to say, "Let them." And so, the next day, the ultimate magicians set out on a brand new journey. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed watching, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out the next video.